Westerners, middle class, with all the conditioning and brainwashing that the rationalistic, Newtonian, mechanistic world model has succeeded in impinging and putting on all of us, and can within a very short time have shamanic experiences, can open up doorways to these other worlds, can establish ally relationships, totemic relationships. They're not really totemic, because totemic means family, comes from the ancestry, and these are not. These are new. These are individual new. So everyone has the potential for becoming a shaman, becoming a practitioner of shamanism. It's no longer you need to go to the expert, the one person in the tribe who played that role. Because now we've evolved all kinds of other approaches for, of course we still have experts, and it's okay to use experts, but on the other hand, what's much more important is that people, the actual you and me, all of us, anyone who cares about the world that we live in and would like to survive and would like to see this world pass on to our children and our grandchildren, it behooves us all to make use of every possible help, method, tool, technique, ally, spiritual, technological, as long as it helps us get there and accomplish this purpose. We'd be fools not to use it. I've recently come to understand also that there are different varieties of shamanic path, and this might help some of you think about how you might relate to that kind of path, and we can talk further about this afternoon too. Part of this came for me out of a distinction that's made in the Polynesian, Hawaiian shamanic complex between starting with the assumption that the shamanic path is one of the obtaining this otherwise inaccessible knowledge, usually not accessible knowledge, that they make a distinction between the path of the warrior and the path of the adventurer. And this is a very interesting distinction. The path of the warrior is a path that emphasizes impeccability and intense observation and attention. And it has a worldview that says the world is a dangerous place, filled with malevolent forces, both ordinary human and spirit. And it's the task of the warrior to be able to defend himself, him or herself, at all times against these prevailing malevolent forces in the world around us. And therefore the path of the warrior emphasizes this highly disciplined kind of practices. It tends to emphasize ordeal, self-infliction of pushing one's own limits for endurance or pain tolerance in order to extend one's limits of tolerance and steel oneself, as it were, for this ongoing combat. Basically, it's the impeccability, to me, consists, and Castaneda's books are good examples, are good descriptions of this path and this attitude. Impeccability, to me, consists in this sense of balance between what I've called the projective and the perceptive. Not just having the vision and sort of, oh yeah, vision, groovy, wow, taking it in. Many people have that attitude towards psychedelics. Just take it and wow. Impeccability means you look back. You don't just take it. You look and you try to discriminate and to discern between what are your own projections based on your own fears and fantasies and what is really going on there and what really is going on there. You need to be able to observe. You need to be able to catch the details. You need to be able to see through the surface in order to get the meaning that's being expressed by that surface of form. And that to me is impeccability. Impeccability means not just indulging and having the vision, it means observing the vision that you're shown in all states of consciousness. Now, the adventurer, the path of the adventurer is a little bit different. The adventurer actually needs to have the same impeccability and the same attention to observing and really attending to detail. However, he doesn't necessarily, and he agrees, the adventurer agrees, that the world is filled with malevolent forces, but that's not all. The adventurer, whom I actually prefer to call the explorer, so you think of it as adventurer-explorer, as a type of path, as an orientation, says, yes, okay, we need to be able to protect ourselves, so we'll learn the skills of the warrior. But on the other hand, reality is infinitely fluid, well, not infinitely, it's fluid and flexible within certain limits, and these limits can be extended and expanded. And the adventurer then rather tries to generate or co-create a picture of reality in which the potential for unfolding and for creative expression of everyone participating in it is maximized. So it's creating an environment, creating a setting, co-creating a space, a context, a reality in which each and every one of us humans and the animals and the plants and nature herself can be recognized as a community of equals and can have the right to unfold their own destiny. This is what the deep ecology movement is, how deep ecology connects into shamanism. Because deep ecology says every species of plant or animal and the environmental elements themselves have an equal right to live their life without having their integrity violated by one particular arrogant species. So, the adventurer, explorer, and the warrior consciousness shared the emphasis on impeccability, on observation, on detail, on discipline to a certain extent, but the adventurer, explorer also emphasizes creativity more. The creative play to allow the unfolding of these created realities that maximize everyone's potential. So the drawback of the warrior consciousness is that it has a tendency to become paranoid. Right? Because this kind of suspiciousness, the world is full of malevolent forces, shades very easily into paranoia. And when you think of warrior consciousness, not so much in the shamanic context, see, the shamanic warrior consciousness is warrior attitude in relationship to the inner worlds, or the other worlds. Warriors, of course, exist in the ordinary world. And one kind of summary statement of the kind of mess that we're in right now is to say that the warrior consciousness on this planet has run amok. When you look at the governments of the world, both first, second, and third world countries, 99% of them are military cliques, military elites. The military-industrial complex has been in charge of, basically, they have access to the largest amount of resources, they have access to all the science and technology, they have access to the largest amount of money, they control, they dominate, they are parasitical on the economy. Because the military economy is not a life-sustaining economy. It's a life-destroying economy, which doesn't produce anything of value that sustains and supports life. Therefore, it's parasitical on the rest of the economy of people who grow food and live lives and try to, have babies and continue the life on this world. The difference between parasitism and symbiosis is very crucial. Symbiosis means mutual cooperative support of each other's evolutionary development. Parasitism is evolutionary development of one species or group or clan of another, at the expense of another. The colonial enterprise, the entire colonialism is a form of parasitism. That's why we shouldn't be surprised when third world countries don't think of America as the land of opportunity as so much as the land of imperialist oppression and exploitation. The opportunity is not for them. So we are the ones that go in there, force them to change their agriculture over to doing monocultural things, which leads to, and force them to grow crops that they can sell for cash to make our hamburgers, to feed our cattle, and therefore not be able to feed themselves and destroy the rainforest. They're not doing that. They wouldn't come up with that as a mechanism of survival. It's a parasitism. It's for us. We consume all that stuff.